Hello everyone and welcome back again. In this lesson we're going to continue working on this MIS project, Visual Studio project, and I would like actually to add a couple stuff in here. For example, when I launch the application, just give it a second to launch, I get immediately the query, which is represented right away in my data grid view. Now I would love to, and it would be actually great, to add some sort of like authentication, like authentication layer, if you will, or authentication step. So before any guy or any manager or anybody can actually get into the application, he has to be authenticated through a username or password. In order to add this, actually there's nothing like that in Northwind database. So I will go ahead and I will show you how to add these stuff. So basically it is easy to do it from SQL Server side. So I have to go and design. Now in my case the employee table already exists. It would be great if I had even one more separate table for the username or password. And even a reference table, which is going to be holding the, if you are an administrator, or so it's holding the user role. Now, in case if you added a table, it's easy to actually update it in there, but depends on your database how it looks like, because all the databases varies from each other. Excuse me. You could actually end up with some certain errors in the middle. In order just not to give you a lot of headaches, you could just simply like drop or delete the DMX model and then regenerate it again. This is the easiest way, or just simply go and fix the errors based on what Visual Studio tells you. But in order to add columns, let's say in this table, it's really quite straightforward. You have to first of all, I'm going to add the username, and it's going to be I'm going to copy this here and allow nulls because it's already there, so I have to like add them manually. And the password, it's gonna be as well this one. Just for instance, you can of course feel free to put whatever data type you would like to. Now I'm gonna Control S this one, so save that. Now if I go and say edit, you have the username and password. Now for example, I will go for the employee here right away, so Nancy, the username, I'll leave it Nancy for now. I added the username column because right now, well, at least if you had a table, a separate table for it, you could have even like that username to be as an ID, so it will be like quite unique for every record. And then the coolest thing about it is that once you insert into a database, probably in other application, you will not have the problem to check if the username exists or not, and then you have to like take care to handle these stuff, to handle these collisions. But in here I have to handle whether the username exists or not, if in case I'm trying to input to the database. But since it's enough for your seminars to project to get stuff from the database, I don't need to care about these stuff right now. So, and the password I will leave it as test for now. And you know what? I will leave it small n, just to make the typing faster. Now, okay, so I got this. So I'm gonna go here to Visual Studio, and I am going to double click on my DMX model, and hang on a second, I need to get to the model browser. Now once I get to the model browser, there are couple stuff I have to make. First of all, right click, update model from database, because as you can see here, hang on a second, where is the employees? There you go. So here's the employees. So if I right click, update model from database, so as you can see here, there is no username or password. So I'm gonna come here and say refresh tables, and then I choose the employees table, which I wanted to update, and then I'm gonna hit finish. Now if I go here, you see I find the username and password. I also, just for the safety sake, I know it could be meaningless, but I usually like to do these two steps just, to be sure. So employee as well, finish. Excuse me. So I have updated my model, my actual data model. So right now they are in sync with the database. Right now the only thing which is left is to make the login screen. So the problem is, when I launch the application, the first thing happens is, of course, I get the Northwind Manager. I just simply get like the query right away, and this is my main form. Now how in fact to change the order, how to get my login form appears first, and then afterwards I get another window. So in order to do that, it's really quite straightforward. But once you think about it, so if I go here to program.cs, as you can see here, my first thing which happens in my application, that the CLR actually creates for me like a sort of a thread in the system and registers my form based on this one. So registers that FRM main. Now if I could actually put in somebody else in here, it will be in fact appearing first. But then we have to manage how to close that first form and open the second one. So this is really quite straightforward. So I'm gonna go here in MS Project, and so this is my UI layer. I'm gonna hit add new item, or in fact new Windows form right away, and I'm gonna call this form FRM login, and right here I'm gonna go to my toolbox, and I'm gonna add like 4 or 5 controls here. So first of all, I'm gonna get my labels done. I'm gonna get my text boxes done here, also dropped right there, and I need a couple buttons, which is gonna be for OK or cancel. So let me shrink the spaces which we don't need in a second. So for this label, if I hit F4, this label is going to be the username or login. Sorry about this. Hold on. And this is going to be password, and just arrange the arrange the controls as they should be. Alright, so, and here are the buttons. Of course you could scale them up a little bit, hang on, like this and like that. Okay, and the rest of the space I don't need in fact, so okay. And of course I hate to have a form that has a title like this, so I'm gonna just call it Northwind Manager login. So LOGN. Now, oh man, okay, let me even scale the form a little bit just to hold the whole information for me. Okay, and here's I accidentally double clicked, sorry about that. Oops, apparently I've done everything for some certain reason when I hit Control Z. Okay, let me pause the video here, and I'll just simply not bother you with the construction. I will just simply put the controls all over again. Alright, so what you see in front of you right now, just because I haven't done a lot of stuff and I don't want you to waste your time just simply watching that I'm doing the same thing over again. So I have put here the buttons, I named them like btn OK, btn cancel, named this username text box as txt username, and the password as txt password. And now what we need to do is simple like show this form before the other one. And of course I don't want this form to be resized, so I would like go here into the border style, as far as I remember. There you go. And I'm gonna make it like fixed tool window. Okay, so it's gonna appear like this, so you're gonna have only just to close it. You cannot do anything other than just simply closing that form. Alright, now I will come over here in the program class, and then I have to make a little bit more modifications here. Now first of all, in order to show any form, you have to create a new object from it, like here, right? So I'm gonna come here and say login frm login. I'm gonna call it frm equals to new login. In fact, sometimes I like to call it like this, and I'm trying to keep it that way, var, which is actually the same since I've covered already the implicit and explicit typing. Now excuse me. So in here I'm gonna say if frm dot dialog result. Oh, in fact I have to show here application dot run, and I'm gonna say frm. So if frm dot dialog result equals dialog result dot OK, then please do this. Okay, now let's try to understand what is exactly that mean. So you have a form. I have just simply created a new object from it, and I have just simply passed it to run, to the application.run. So I created a new thread in the system, and begins the application just simply like show that form. Now the problem is why I done that, why I didn't write this new frm, because I actually wanted to reuse that object again to check if in fact the guy who is actually trying to put his username or password actually worked out. Now in Visual Studio, or excuse me, in .NET Framework, you have something which is called dialog result. Now dialog result is like a sort of like manager, which we already have seen probably in the adverse book with the OK, yes, and cancel kind of message box. You have to every form actually has its own states. Is it okay? Is it cancelled? Is it I don't know, did the guy type yes or no or ignore or something like that? And in fact, once the user logs in successfully, I can in fact right away set the form dialog result equals to okay and just simply close it. So this is really a good and a nice idea. Instead of actually, it's a good and nice idea to check if the user actually have successfully logged in or not. Okay, now let's see how this will look like in code. Now first of all, I'm gonna create inside the model, I'm gonna create, oh, you know what, Control-Shift-A. This is for adding a new item, and then I'm gonna have here emp services. So here in the employee services, which is going to be a public one, I'm going to have here another function which is called which returns to me an employee. Let me first hang on a second, probably I have added it into the wrong project, sorry about that. Let me just simply delete that little guy. It's here, in fact it's in the model, I believe. So emp services. Now in here I'm gonna have a public class and public static employees get authentication, and in here I have two choices. Some people like to pass in the username and password like as a string, username string password. I am in fact against that. I don't like it. I usually like to pass objects right away, so I'm gonna pass employees emp, and I'm gonna show you how this will end up in the code. which is much more, it's much cleaner way to do this. And here var var query is gonna be equals to from, add a bracket, from e in dm class.dc dot employees where e dot, and here I'm gonna say username equals imp dot username, and e dot password equals imp dot password. Select e dot first or default. Now, and of course return query. Now the result of this query is going to be like this. So if I am trying to select an employee based on his username and password, which I passed in, so the username from the database is compared to the username which I passed in through the function, and his password is compared with the other guy in the database. And this first or default implies that it will return the first element which sees in the database, like that matches these requirements, okay? Or if it's not found, it will simply return null, okay? So it will just simply, if I couldn't find an employee that with that username or password, is going to be null. If he's found, then we are fine. He will return to us actually an employee object, and then we can say we are fine. We can go forward and show the other form. So I'm going to come here in the FRM login. Let me hit probably Shift F7. Now, if I'm gonna hit OK, let me first, I like to organize my tab index, because I usually, well, it's a little bit, you know, it's a habit when I go in such forms. I usually hit the tab in order to move to the second control, and tab index is gonna be here 0, 1, 2, and this is gonna be 3. Okay, fine. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. I'll come here and double click on OK, and I will say I will construct a new employee object. So var emp equals to new, and first of all I have to add him in the using here, so new model. I'm gonna say new employees object, and I'm gonna grab the text from the username dot text, assign it to the username from the text box, assign it to the username in the employee object username property, and password equals to txt password dot text, and in here I'm gonna just say if get imp services dot get authentication doesn't equal to null. So if it is actually not null, then I'm gonna just say message, not message box, in fact, then I'm gonna just say this dot dialog result equals dialog, equals to system dialog result dot okay. So I'm saying that this form state right now is actually like it really passed. So the authentication passed. Right now I'm free to set this dialog result as okay. Let me just simply move this code over here, and here I'm gonna say just this dot close. So once I finish, I just simply close the form, and that's it. Now, why they are here? Oh, sorry. Yes, I have to. I forgot to pass the employee. So there you go. Else, I just simply. In fact, I don't need even the brackets. So I'm gonna just say message box dot show. And I have several constructors here. First of all, the text, so username or password is incorrect, and the caption is gonna be, of course, North hold on a second, why I have a strange quotes behavior. North wind manager and comma. As far as I remember, here there was message box buttons, because I would like to get the icon, in fact. So here's gonna be sort of error, let's say. So it's an error in the login. Okay, now I've got this. Okay, nicely done. Let me just simply push them over here and tab that. Alright, so basically, if I don't succeed, I will never log in. If I succeed, then I will pass through the next form. Now Control F5. Now as you can see here, I got my first form. Now I'm gonna type here Mohammed, which doesn't exist, and test, and we have to fix this because password shouldn't be visible. I'm gonna hit OK, and as you can see here, Northwind Manager, this is the title, an error, username or password is not correct or is incorrect. So if I hit OK, nothing happens. If I close the form, that's it. The whole application just shuts off. Now let us try this Nancy and test. Oops. Okay. Now immediately it shows me my form. So this was really easy and straightforward task. Now first we have to fix this part. Now in case that you would like to have some sort of password character, you can use the system password character, or you can input your own characters. By the way, you could like have your characters like this. Oh sorry, it's just only one. Okay, and if I hit Control F5, when I type a username, when the password is typed, you see whatever I type, it just goes to $. Or you could use, in fact, the system one, which I mostly prefer, since you're going to be following the Windows API and stuff. Now, or Windows, actually, like Windows, UI. So if I have a username and password is going to be like the password which you see in Windows when you log into your Windows or whatever, you have a password field in there. Okay, so we have got this hammered down. Now, let me first, before I go and switch to the problem, I'm gonna stop here and switch to the next lesson. The FRM main, in fact, contain a huge data grid view that projects something on it. Now, to be honest with you, this will not be happening. We have to have a full form with a menu bar in the top, and you can select reports from there, and then we can show stuff from there. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna delete this thing. I'm gonna double click on this form, so I'm gonna erase this code, so when I am actually running this, so username test. Oh, by the way, this enter, we have to handle it. I'm gonna show you how to handle it in a second. So there you go, we have the clean form. Now, if in case you are typing the username and password and you would really like tab, username tab, password tab, and then enter right away, you can do it like this. So you have in the event handler on key down, I'm just gonna say if e.keycode equals keys.enter. I'm just gonna call the button OK click, so this is called the channeling events E, and there you go. And if I hit Control F5, right now I can type Nancy test, enter, and I am logged in right away. Okay, so right now my form is clean. Let me close this. I will not look at this anymore. Okay, and let me close this program class. I don't need it anymore. And in here, in the user interface, I will add a main menu bar, and I will stop right there, because in the next lesson And okay, I will make even the form as an MDI, and the next lesson I'm going to show you how to deal with that. So here in the main menu strip, I'm going to drag it over here, and yeah, and I just simply will leave it right there, saved. Now in this form, I'm going to go here in the window style is MDI container, and I'm going to set it to true. Right now, what does it mean in MDI? It's multiple device interface, which means it's the same exactly like Photoshop or like Excel. You have several forms inside a huge form. Visual Studio, right now, I have a form inside a huge form. This you can actually call it like an MDI. Okay. We have, I believe you have seen already with Excel, with Photoshop, probably there are a lot of these are the best examples of MDI, and I'm going to show you how to deal with them in the next lesson. Okay, so thanks a lot for your attention.